Hello, Brave Nation, and welcome to episode 33 of BraveHawk Talk. I'm John Gross. As always, BraveHawk Talk is presented by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like. Hey, if you're looking for that perfect lunch or that quick and quality dinner, stop by Jersey Mike's of Pembroke. I have to say, I got a Chipotle cheesesteak last week from Jersey Mike's, and it was delicious. So make sure to visit Jersey Mike's of Pembroke, Jersey Mike's, a sub above. Today we are joined by Travis Prince of the UNCP football team and Coach Brittany Padilla, Associate Head Coach of the UNCP soccer team. Travis, a redshirt sophomore, is looking to make his mark as a key piece of the Braves' backfield. The running back has his sights set on future sports success off the field too. Here's our Scotland Health Student Athlete of the Week, Travis Prince. Travis, thank you so much for hopping on BraveHawk Talk today. I'm really excited to speak with you.
I'm happy to be here.
Travis, a running back on the UNCP football team. I know the season moved from the fall to the spring. It's a bit different for everyone involved, but practice just started for you guys. How's practice been?
Practice has been great. Everybody's kind of got a calm before the storm kind of, approach to it, where we're actually really excited. 6 weeks seems like a really long time, but, it'll fly by. So, yeah, the team's actually really excited. I haven't played football in close to 2 years now, so, yeah.
And for you personally, what was your reaction when you first started playing and get back on the field? Because, like you said, it's been some time since you guys last put the pads on.
Yeah. It started, I guess, in the fall semester. We actually did put on pads for, I think, 2 practices. I was actually, unfortunately, had to go on quarantine. One of my roommates, had a situation, so we were on quarantine for a little bit. It just felt good to get back. I kind of did my best to stay in shape, during quarantine. Obviously, I wasn't working, so obviously I just had nothing but time. So I was running, doing drills, just trying to do whatever I could to stay in shape and be ready.
You look back to last year's team, you lose some running backs to graduation, to transfer, and you're going to have a big season coming up this year. What are you looking to show in practice that you're hoping to translate for the season?
I'm just ready to show everybody what I can do. I kind of feel like, like you said, we've had some seniors and some other guys who were ahead of me, so I was kind of a little bit overshadowed, but now it's my turn to really showcase and show, UNCP what I can do, and I'm really excited about that.
What type of running back is Travis Prince?
I consider Travis Prince a every down back.
Do you have an inspiration? Is there a running back who you model your game after?
My favorite team is the Chicago Bears, so I really like Matt Forte. If anybody asks, they're just kind of giving us kind of a biased answer, but I really do like Matt Forte. He's very solid. He obviously can run really well. He can catch really well. He can block really well. His every part of his game is really good. So that's obviously he's one of my favorites.
And when you hit the field this year, what can Braves fans expect to see from you?
From me, hopefully I can want to get in the box a lot. I want to be a very productive flash plays. I made a lot of flash plays in high school, a lot of long runs. So I just hope to continue that here.
I want to go back a little bit into your past. Everyone has a great story, and you're certainly no different with that. When did you start playing football?
I started playing football when I believe I was 8. That's the first year I played tackle football. So yeah, I was 8. And
how did you get into it?
Well, it started out that spring. I ended up playing flag football in the spring. It was fun. When I was little, I was a lot faster than a lot of the kids, so it was just really easy. And I told my dad, I was like, I kind of want something more challenging. And so he put me in the tackle football in the fall, and it was just kind of downhill from there. We actually my first year we ended up winning the championship, so that was really exciting. So that was just it was motivation to keep me going throughout my career.
Had you been a football fan at that point? Like, did you grow up watching the sport too, in addition to playing it?
I did. Both of my parents are sports fanatics. We watched football. We watched basketball. My dad was a really good track guy in college. He actually was close to qualifying for the Olympics, but unfortunately due to injury, he wasn't able to take it any further. So yeah, sports it kind of just runs in my family.
Now, you had mentioned before that you were faster than other people in that league, and clearly had the athletic and competitive edge. At what point did you realize when you started playing tackle football that you're better than most of those guys as well?
I think it took maybe, I would say it was my first game. I guess I didn't really know at first how fast I was, so I wasn't showing it like I should. And then it was one play I got like a screen pass, and I just took off, and it was like, we were little, so I think our field was only like 60 yards, so I think it was maybe like a 30-yard run. From that point on, I knew I was like, okay, like I could do this.
Did you realize it yourself, or were there people, were your parents like, Travis, you're really good at this thing?
My parents, obviously, they always pushed me to be better, but they've never kind of forced anything upon me. They've always let me think for myself. So I've always had that, and I've always thought for myself. So it kind of came from within learning.
So you go to South Mecklenburg High School, where you have a stellar high school career. When you look back at your 4 years in high school, what are some of the memories that stand out to you?
Memories, I would say some of my teammates. We shared a lot. We went through a lot together. We changed the program around. We put in a lot of hard work, and those are some of the people that I'll never forget. Coaches, it was a great time. It was a great time.
And at what point in your high school career, and it might have even been before that, but at what point did you realize that you could take this from something that you do for fun to a way to get an education in college?
It had always been my dream to play for Alabama. Like that was my dream. I think I kind of started that in like 5th grade, so it was always kind of part of the plan to say, like, I want to get to Alabama and play football in Alabama. Obviously, it didn't happen, but it was never a thing to not be able to make it to college. Like that was just it was mandatory. Like I did what I had to do and put the work in to get here.
Do you remember the first time you were contacted by a college coach?
My first letter I received, was it? I can't remember what year, but it was from Abbott University. I do remember it was Abbott University.
What was your reaction when you got that letter? Because I mean, I played basketball in high school, but never at any level where I had the chance to play in college. But I'd imagine that has to be one of the most exciting moments of your life, that people at the next level want you at their school.
Right. I was really excited because a lot of my teammates were really highly recruited. So, and I kind of felt overshadowed there as well. So when I finally kind of saw that, look, it's working for me too, it just, it was just really exciting and just more motivation to keep going.
How did your relationship with UNCP develop during the recruiting process?
It actually came along a little bit later, my senior year. Coach Cox actually came to my high school earlier on in the season, and I was actually coming off of surgery the year before, so I think he was kind of a little bit skeptical at first to just, to see how I was going to bounce back, and I actually bounced back really well. So from there, we kind of kept in contact, and after the season, when I made my official visit, they did a really good job recruiting me. I loved the recruits that were here, the team that was already here, my host. We were really fun. It was a lot of fun. They did a really good job. They made me feel like this was my home. They made me really feel wanted. So, and that kind of, helped boil down my decision.
I always hear a lot about student athletes who make the jump from high school to college, especially football players, about how different the game is at the two different levels. What were some of the immediate differences that you noticed from your time playing football in high school to your time playing football in college?
I would say first it was the conditioning. Man, I remember my first day for summer workouts. It was a little tough my first day, and then two, obviously the speed was a lot different. Everybody's fast, everybody's good in college, So it takes you have to learn to develop the smaller parts of your game to help you stand out.
You are now a redshirt junior. You've, I'm sure, grown and learned a lot along the way at UNCP. Where do you feel like you've grown the most, whether it's football or off the field as well?
Actually, I ended up breaking my or fracturing my ankle my sophomore year, so I'm actually still a redshirt sophomore.
Redshirt sophomore.
But but I feel my mental part behind it. I've definitely matured a lot in 4 years. Kind of had I want to say a lot of setbacks, but I had to do a lot of I had to stay down, had to stay humble. So I would definitely say just my mental part behind it, and me realizing that regardless what happens, that I know I'm going to stick through it and keep it going, because you can't be a quitter in life. My parents never raised a quitter, so.
It's a great mindset to have. I want to talk a little bit about your interests off the field, because full disclosure, Travis did some work a couple days ago with the UNCP Sports Network, did a great job with their broadcast, and he shared some very interesting insight on what he hopes to do career-wise post-football. What are you hoping to do for a career after college?
I would say at first I kind of want to be able to kind of get into the corporate world of things, kind of see how the corporate marketing world works. To get some experience there, to see how the big dogs do it. And obviously once I get down the line and I'm able to support myself financially, I want to open up my own business. And so just along the way, I kind of want to learn everything there is to know about marketing when it comes to the broadcasting aspect, the sales part, the digital. I want to know everything about everything, so that way when I jump into the world with my own business, I'm ready to go, and I don't to limit the problems that I have to run into.
And what is it about sports marketing in that industry that draws your interest?
Well, obviously with being sports, I just kind of feel like I love sports. Sports has been my passion since I was a little kid. So it's just a lot easier for me to wake up. I feel like it would be a lot easier for me to wake up every morning knowing that, hey, I'm working with sports again, versus kind of working a job where you're not exactly happy. So my parents have always taught me that working somewhere where you have a passion for, it makes your life a lot easier, and it's a lot less stress going forward.
I completely support that sentiment. I mean, I only graduated college May 2019, but I've always wanted to work in sports, and working in sports here at UNCP, you don't work a day in your life. It's a lot of fun working in sports, so I'm very glad to hear that. In general, like, what are you specifically hoping to achieve? What do you hope that your business that you create looks like?
I want to be a good businessman, of course. I want to be able to have my clientele, for them to be satisfied. Even if I have a small clientele, I want them to be very satisfied with their work, to know that, hey, Travis and his company, those guys, they work really hard. They did a great job. And just to make sure that I'm pleasing my customer and not just getting the job done, but I want to get it done the right way. And also want to be able to build relationships in the business world, so that I'm able to, I feel like when you have partners, you have friends, that you're able to go a lot further versus being by yourself.
You'd mentioned before that Matt Forte is somebody who you look up to football-wise, but in the business world and in the sports industry world, are there any people who really inspire you and motivate you?
I would say Gary Brackett. I interned with him this summer. He helped me out a lot. He actually played linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts. He was a captain. He played on both the Super Bowl teams with Peyton Manning, so he's really good. His business is very far along. Him and BJ have a really good thing going there, and he brought me in. It was a situation where he didn't need my help, but he brought me in to help promote and bring me along for the future. And I learned so many things this summer that is typically that you don't get to see, because it's his own business. So a lot of the stuff that I learned was a lot more organic versus, I feel like, in the corporate, in the corporate standpoint. So right. It was just really great.
That's awesome. I remember Gary Brackett had a great NFL career. I want to say he went to Rutgers.
Yep,
I believe.
Sure did.
Okay, there we go. What were some of the things that you learned from him this summer?
Just of how to, I would say, for one, communication. How businesses communicate and the relationships that you build, and how that networking goes a very, very long way for the future. He's had restaurants. He owned numerous restaurants. I don't know if you've heard of Stack Pickle, end up turning into a chain. It's just how to manage your money, how to run the business, how he treats his employees. It's kind of like they're not even employees. It's more so like it's like friends. Like being there was more so like having a family around, more like a very good family atmosphere versus employees. He treats them well, pays them well, obviously. And it was just a lot, versus how to when it comes to kids and supporting his kids when it comes to sports. Just everything. I would say I did end up spending a lot of time with him.
That's awesome. And he sounds like a great role model and has done a phenomenal job post-football career and clearly creating and cultivating very successful business endeavors. We like to end with a fun question.
Okay.
Obviously, you being a running back, you routinely go up against some very good defensive players, but I'll give you a scenario here, okay? You have, let's just say let's pretend this is just one-on-one football. Somehow, some way, it's one-on-one football. You're at the 5-yard line. You have to get to the end zone. You're matched up with one defender, any defender of all time. I want this to be a challenge, though. Okay, who would you want that one defender to be? And you try to beat him to the end zone.
I'll just Ray Lewis. I'm taking Ray Lewis, but I'm taking myself over Ray Lewis every time.
You know what? I swear to you, when I thought of that question, I thought Ray Lewis was the first name that popped in my mind.
He's great. Had an outstanding career. He's still doing good things. He's a really good motivational speaker. I've actually listened to a couple of his videos. I really like Ray Lewis.
And Travis, I would take you over Ray Lewis as well in that situation. I believe you would score a touchdown right then and right there. So, awesome stuff. Well, Travis, thank you so much for hopping on today. We are also excited for you and the football team to get going in 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks?
Yep, 6 weeks.
Looking forward to it. Stay healthy, stay safe, and best of luck this year.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again to Travis for hopping on today, and we wish him luck this season. When it comes to your pets, you want the best. You want a veterinarian who will show your pets the love and care they deserve. Southeastern Veterinary Hospital of Lumberton will do just that. Their friendly and experienced team will keep you and your pet at ease. Call 910-739-9411 to schedule your appointment today. Southeastern Veterinary Hospital, your neighborhood's favorite vet. UNCP Soccer has established itself as one of the top programs in the region. One major reason why? A former player and current associate head coach who has contributed to multiple NCAA tournament appearances and a conference title. Let's welcome fifth-year coach Brittany Padilla to BraveHawk Talk. Coach, I know this season is just about a week and a half or so away, so thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Absolutely, me too. Thank you for having me.
This has, of course, been a year, last year and a couple months or so, that's been unlike anything that anyone in college athletics has ever experienced. You have your soccer season, which, of course, is normally in the fall, now pushed back to the spring. I know that you're in the midst of your training now. What has this off-season been like for you in the program?
It's definitely been different. I mean, we came in the fall and we trained, but it was different. The girls got here, and normally in preseason they come to our office. We give them dorm keys and we welcome the parents. And this year was very different. We didn't, we tried to have it as little contact with the players and parents as much as possible. So that was very different in the fall. We trained for about 5 weeks and made some progress, and then they went home for 10 weeks. And now we're having a 21-day preseason, which is really nice. But this semester has been very interesting because, it's much colder. So I think the girls are having to adjust a little bit to that. Obviously, with COVID, the girls are having to wear masks during practice, so that has been very different. We're trying to limit some of the contact tracing there, so they're having to adjust to that. Obviously, being away from soccer for 10 and a half weeks has been very different as well. So, I mean, they're definitely making the adjustment. Super proud of them for getting the job done over the 10-week span. And it is the holidays. It's different. You're going, okay, I can kind of indulge and hang out with family and do that sort of thing. But they really had to kind of focus because now our season is in the spring. So I'm super proud of the way they've handled that. And they came in and they're fit and they're ready to play. So I'm super excited about that.
Have you changed the format at all of your practices, or are they the same as you'd see during a normal year?
So this preseason, actually, because it has extended, we are still doing two-a-days, but back when I played, preseason was 14 days, and we did two-a-days on the ball, and the last 30 minutes was a strength and conditioning, speed and agility, type session. But Coach actually talked to the former Armstrong Atlantic coach, Eric Faulkner, and he's out now at North Florida. His advice was we do one-a-days in the sense that we only train once on the ball and we do another session, but that's a speed and agility, maybe a meeting, maybe film, something of that nature. So we've really just only been on the ball for one training session, so 2 hours on the ball for one day. And I think that's kind of the formula. I think the girls right now, we've trained 10 times on the ball over a span of 10 days, where normally we'd have 10 practices in a span of 5 days. So I think that's kind of helped injuries. I think it kind of helps a little bit with burnout. I think 9th, 10th training session, you're going, okay, Coach, I don't want to see a soccer ball for maybe 24 hours, kind of get away. So I think that's really helped. And we've really just been able to kind of crush it for 2 weeks straight. And we're getting ready to kind of taper off and really talk about break down maybe some film and really break down kind of our formation and so on and so forth. So I think it's really helped us kind of just get to, where we need to be. So I think that's super helpful.
Now, of course, the expectations for the program in terms of on-field performance are always very high. You're coming off of another NCAA tournament appearance, established yourselves as one of the best programs, not just in the conference, but really in the region. How do you balance the expectations that are normally set for the program with the reality of this year, that you may have some games canceled and that might mess up the rhythm of the team throughout the season?
I think we're just trying to, keep them motivated and kind of right now, we'll have the Peach Belt Conference tournament in the April 6th, 10th time frame. So we're not looking to be 100% on our first game February 1st. We're really trying to look at big picture. And, we may have one game canceled. We may have 2 games canceled. We don't know. But whatever it is, and we try to tell the team every single day that you approach a training session, a conditioning session, speed and agility, you have to, play as if this may be your last session for contact tracing issues, 7 days, 10 days. So we really just try to ingrain that in them and I think we have good leaders on this team. So they've really just kind of bought into that idea and really just taken it day by day, knowing that we may not, play an entire schedule. And so I think they've stayed motivated in that sense. So I'm super proud of our team and the leaders on this team that have really kind of bought into that idea. So taking it day by day and every single training session so far, knock on wood, has been very good. So we're just hoping to keep that momentum and just looking forward to, our first game on February 1st.
And we are looking forward to that as well. Coach, I want to dive a bit into your past because I think you have a very interesting story. You played multiple sports here at UNCP, but even before that, when did you start playing soccer?
I was actually from San Diego, California, so I kind of, I was typical. I was actually dance, and then I was t-ball, and then I started playing soccer probably at 10, and it wasn't super organized. At the middle school that I was at, we didn't have middle school sports. So when I moved to North Carolina in 8th grade, I played everything. I played volleyball, soccer, basketball, and softball. And I really had to kind of, once I got to high school, really had to narrow it down to 2. And I, love basketball, and obviously soccer's my number 1. But so I kind of narrowed it down to the 2 sports. And, basketball was always kind of the stress away. I'd go shoot and kind of just, kind of wind down from the pressures of soccer, because I played at a very high level in club in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So, basketball and soccer were really my 2, but I really didn't start playing soccer till I was maybe 10, 11, and then in 8th grade really made a quality club team and was recruited my junior year of high school to play soccer, and that's really when I just kind of narrowed it down to just the one sport. But yeah, that's kind of the journey that got me to college. But yeah, I think it was probably 10 years old when I first started playing soccer.
And out of all those sports that you mentioned, why did you pick soccer as the one that you wanted to pursue most seriously?
My dad played soccer, and he, he was very honest, and he said, I think you have, you're very good at soccer, so I think that may be your path to. And he was very honest in the process and stuff, and so. I toured a couple schools. I went to Peace, actually, and they wanted me to play both basketball and soccer. And I don't know, it was just something, it's just the first love, and it was, something that I really, really enjoyed doing. Not that I didn't enjoy basketball, but I just, I just knew that I had maybe more opportunity to play soccer, and loved UNC Pembroke, and decided to come here and play soccer. So, I'm super thankful now that I look back at it. My dad, telling me that, hey, you need to focus on one. I think it's soccer. I think deep down I knew it was soccer as well. So I had to make that choice. And I'm sure other athletes can relate to that, having to choose. I think some clubs may be stricter than others that really kind of make that decision for you and tell you, hey, you have to make this decision. You either play soccer or whatever the other sport is. And, that was the choice I made. And I definitely don't regret it. So, yeah.
A little bit off track here, but I want, because you brought up the fact that you played so many sports and you eventually narrowed it down to one, but you hear a lot of talk about specialization, young athletes focusing just year-round in one sport, whether it's basketball, soccer, baseball, playing all these club teams year-round, whatever it might be. Do you feel that that's the right thing to do, or should young athletes follow the path that you took, play all those different sports, be well-rounded, and then move on from there?
I think for me it was just, and I don't know if it was kind of from where I came from in San Diego, not really playing a lot of sports, and then I came to Jacksonville and middle school. I was able to play all the sports. So I think being a well-rounded athlete and doing what you love and not, making that tough decision too early. I definitely think, if your love is, volleyball and softball, you make those decisions, and then eventually you do get older and you have kind of, like I did, I had my dad, I had the AD at my high school at the time, and my family, and we just kind of made that decision to, they helped me make that decision, I should say. But I think if you love multiple sports, play those multiple sports, but have somebody that can kind of be there to really give you, advice and let you know, hey, I really see a path to college going down this path, and you really figuring out, is this really, what I love doing? Because it's my opinion. I don't think you should do something you don't love, and I loved soccer, and this is the decision I made. But I do think a lot of players will ask, well, is it okay? I'm already going to play soccer at your university. Is it okay if I run track, or is it okay if I play volleyball this season? We encourage that. We don't think you should. High school, you only go to high school once. I don't have any regrets in the sense that I picked two, and you should do that. You should make sure that you follow what you want. You're not gonna, like I said, you're not gonna be. You're only in high school once, so I think making those tough decisions, but having that mentor that kind of helps you kind of lean towards one or the other. But definitely we don't discourage athletes to choose only the one because you may have regrets in the end. So
you put together a stellar soccer career at UNCP. I know 2010 you make the NCAA tournament, part of one of the best defenses in the country, but really throughout your UNCP career, you, yourself, and the team as a whole had a lot of success. When you look back on your playing career at UNCP, what are some of your fondest memories?
Definitely the 2010 team comes to mind. I mean, we had a really good senior class going into my senior year, but I think my sophomore year, I would actually say that for high school as well. But sophomore year was probably the best, making that run and going to the NCAA tournament. But you just build the relationships, and you think of big games, and you have your teammates at your side, and I think there's just something to be said about college athletics. I mean, we were all very different teams over the course of my 4 years, but I mean, I wouldn't change them for anything. But 2010 definitely stands out. We had a great senior class in Sam Dunn and Heather Jones, and we had just really strong leaders on that team. And so, I mean, those were some of my favorite memories. So I would definitely say the 2010 team stood out in my mind for sure.
How big of an impact would you say that your playing career at UNCP has on how you go about coaching?
It has a big. I mean, I look at some of the former players that I played with, even in club, and a couple of them are now in coaching, and you transitioning from a student athlete to coaches. I mean, it's difficult because you have to, we're people of the game, right? So we know and understand the game. So I think kind of taking that leadership and what you did on the pitch and just trying to take that as a coach, I think is super important. I think I see it in some of the players that we currently have. I see it in our leaders and our captains, and I think they just they're constantly growing. I'm in my office and I'm looking at that senior class, and I smile because we had a great group, and I had always known I wanted to coach, and Coach Anderson is an unbelievable coach, and I'm super proud to be next to him, not only as a student athlete but now as a coach. So.
And I want to follow up on what you just said. You said that you always knew that you wanted to coach. Where does that passion come from, and at what point did you really start to take that seriously, and that, okay, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to prepare myself for a coaching position post-college?
Well, I think it started, it sounds crazy, but in elementary school we had an unbelievable physical education teacher in Mrs. Emerson. I will never forget her. And then I had another female coach in high school, Coach Ruiz. And then just really kind of once I got to high school, it just, really kind of ingrained in my mind that I kind of wanted to actually initially take the kind of physical education route and be maybe a PE teacher and also coach. And then when I got to college, towards the end of my career, I realized I really wanted to just focus on just that. So I coached alongside my dad at OCSA, which is in Onslow County, and him and I coached a team. We coached them to the semifinals, and we actually won the Disney Showcase, which was extremely fun with a great group. And Coach Pauline Privatera, she was the assistant coach when I played. She came to one of our events, and I think she had always known she wanted to potentially get out of coaching within the next couple of years, and she brought the idea up to Coach Anderson, and they asked me on as a GA. So everything just kind of fell into place, really. But I had always known I wanted to pursue coaching. So the opportunity presented itself, and I'm super appreciative of that. Pauline was a big mentor of mine, and obviously so was Coach Anderson. So super appreciative of the opportunity, and I absolutely love what I do, love our team, the players, and I never have to work a day in my life. So definitely love what I do.
What are some of the biggest things about coaching that you've learned from Lars?
Biggest things that I've learned from Coach. He is so passionate about the game, and I think it almost rubs off on you. His passion. He loves his job. He always says he wouldn't drive an hour and a half every day, 3 hours one way to come to work. So I think his passion for the game has really rubbed off on me. I've always loved the game, but I almost think I love it even more because I work with somebody that is also super passionate about it, and has made me even more passionate, and I think we make a pretty good team, but I think that's probably one of the biggest things, and work ethic. He's I don't know that he takes a day off, even when he's off work, he's still working. So I definitely think work ethic as well is something that he's kind of rubbed off on me that I've really taken to heart. So I'm super appreciative of that as well.
We talked before about how you grew up playing multiple sports, and even at UNCP, you had the opportunity to play on the UNCP women's basketball team. What was that experience like?
It was really cool. It was really cool. Kapika Davis at the time, she was the assistant at the time, and I think every athlete kind of battles with that. What do I do now? And that was kind of my thought too. I'm kind of okay. Soccer's over. It's November time frame. Where do I go from here? And, my parents said, you're already not on the basketball team. What's the worst that can happen? Not be on the basketball team. So I ended up reaching out to Coach Kapika Davis and went to a individual type session, and they allowed me. And I always say, okay, I a practice player that they allowed me to be on the team, and I was very happy and understood my role on that team. But I mean, I met some unbelievable people. It was also cool from a coaching perspective to just see another style of coaching. I know it was a different sport, but you know, coaching is coaching, right? So that was really unique, and it was just something that I really enjoyed, because basketball is really my second passion. I love watching basketball, you know, and I love, you know, like I said, I still shoot to this day. If I'm stressed out from a day at work or whatnot, I go in the gym when they're not training, and I'll just go in there and shoot. Just, it's kind of my, you know, home away from home. And but yeah, that experience was really, really fun. I met a lot of cool people, and you know, I'm super appreciative of Coach Haskins as well, and Coach Kapika Davis at the time for allowing me to be a part of their team. So it's pretty cool to be able to say that I was a dual sport athlete. But I'm super appreciative of them allowing me to also come late onto the team. They had already started when our season had ended, so that was really, really awesome of them. So yeah, it was a cool experience for sure. But funny story along with that, I actually what we did at the time was Moonlight Madness, similar to what we do now. But for some reason, I guess they allowed 4 random fans to come onto the court. And I think I had already tried out about 4 or 5 days before this event. So I was there just as a fan, and it was kind of men's and women's, just kind of, you know, they were scrimmaging, and then they decided to do knockout. So they had 4 fans come on the court. So it was, you know, me, 3 other fans, and I think they had maybe 2 or 3 men's players and 2 or 3 women's players. So we played 3-point knockout. So it was me against, in the end, it was just me against another male player, and I ended up winning the knockout and won whatever their giveaway was at the time. And so the talk was, especially on the soccer team, was, oh man, you made the team because you won at knockout at Moonlight Madness. And that wasn't necessarily true, but it was kind of a funny story. So people said that I made the team because I was the winner of Moonlight Madness and was at my prize. But so yeah, that was pretty funny, but and a funny, cool experience. So yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome, and you'll always be able to say that you played 2 sports in college. Most people can't say they even played 1, so that's really an incredible achievement. Now, I want to end with one last question. This will be a fun one. I know that you are a big Disney person, so you could be a part of any Disney movie or show. This could be an animated show. We could animate Coach Padilla, put you in there. What show or movie would you want to be a part of?
That already exists in Disney,
yes, that
right?
already exists.
Okay.
You put yourself in the movie, in the show. You are a character.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. Which movie or show? Gosh, of course you put me on. This is what I was most afraid of, John. Is the last question. Gosh. You know, now that Disney Plus has come back, I'm obviously a huge fan of Disney. Lion King is probably my favorite movie, but I don't know that I'd fit very well in Lion King. But yeah, I noticed that I was a huge fan of Lizzie McGuire when I was when I would watch that. So I'll go ahead and say Lizzie McGuire. So when I saw that on Disney Plus, I wanted to binge it immediately. So I'm just going to say Lizzie McGuire. Maybe I'd bring something to that show, but Lizzie McGuire is probably one of my favorite shows, so I'm going to go with that, because I just don't think I'd fit in Lion King, even though I think it'd maybe be pretty cool to be a lion. But yeah, we're going to go with Lizzie McGuire.
Well, there you have it, Lizzie McGuire featuring Coach Brittany Padilla. I would love to see that. That would be awesome. Coach, thank you so much for your time today. Best of luck this season. Looking forward to February 1st.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it, John.
Thanks so much for tuning in. A reminder, follow us on all of our social media platforms at UNCP_sports, and also subscribe to our YouTube page.